My name is Betty Feng from Purdue University. I'm an assistant professor and food safety specialist in Indiana. And today, I'm honored to have four speakers. We co-organized this webinar series. So this is the very first special webinar series for our small food processors. Today we have Dr. Aaron DiCaprio from UC Davis and Dr. Ariana Torres from Purdue. And we have Stephen from Ohio State and Dr. Abby Schneider from Cornell. So this webinar series have two parts. We're going to present four short presentations on specific topics. And then we're going to open up for a panel discussion. So during the presentation, each presentation will be about 15 minutes. So during this each presentation, please mute yourself. And you can ask questions at the chat box during the presentation. So you can find the chat box on your bottom right. So here, you can either send to everyone or send to me, who is the moderator of this session. We're going to answer those questions first after the presentation. You can also unmute yourself after all four presentations when we open up the floor for panel discussion. Unmute yourself, you can ask questions. Since today we will have a relatively smaller group, so we can have this virtual discussion panel. Okay, so let's start. So we noticed that after this COVID-19 pandemic, we start to have a lot of questions around food. So we have consumers who are quarantined, and we see spikes in e-commerce. And we hear a lot of uncertainty, so complaints, and also not only small processors, but also larger food processors start to have this uncertainty of what to look for beyond COVID-19 era. And food safety is also frequently mentioned during this period of time. So what we see and what we discuss today about food safety challenges could be just one little corner of this huge iceberg of unknown food safety challenges. And today, I am going to touch on what are the food safety challenges and how we can address them from different angles. So we noticed that from the scientific data, there are so many unknowns about this new norovirus, this novel coronavirus. So we invited our virologist, Dr. Aaron DiCaprio, to help us better understand this virus. But still, there are a lot of knowledge gaps need to be filled with more scientific data. All the information presented at today's webinar are the information we have the best knowledge today. There will be changes along the way when we get more data available. So currently, the data suggests that food or food packages are not the media that can transmit the novel coronavirus. However, the newest national consumer survey my lab conducted, some preliminary data still showed us some concerns. So based on the survey result, we find that nearly 1/3 consumers are concerned about getting COVID-19 from foods. Even though we see the scientists on the media, we read reports from USDA, FDA, and CDC suggesting that you shouldn't, it's not something you should worry about right now. But still, 1/3 of the consumers are worried about that. And we start to see people's buying pattern switched. So from this survey, nearly 1/5 participants told us that they try now to avoid buying produce that need to be consumed without further cooking, like berries, like lettuce for salad. So we do need to think about all of those when we plan for our business. So with this webinar series, I am going to present like 3 different topics. Today, I am going to talk about some adapted good manufacturing practices that can help amid COVID-19 pandemic. And next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to enhance the food safety culture in your organization to help amid COVID-19. And then the 3rd week, I'm going to touch base on what are the behavior change we're looking at in your food safety plans that can help address the challenges. So I believe many of you have taken classes before, the trainings from like HACCP or GMPs, or even preventive controls, like those courses offered by extension. So this slide is more like a review. So when we talk about GMPs, we talk about that those basic prerequisite programs that provides the basic environmental and operating conditions that are necessary for the production of safe and wholesome foods, which includes the facility, equipment, and cleaning sanitization schedules, chemical pest controls, personal hygiene, employee training, supplier controls and specifications, and traceability and recalls. Today, I'm only going to touch on 3 of those topics: cleaning and sanitization, personal hygiene, and employee training and communication. So you may read a lot of information before this webinar, and you may have already gotten a lot of information on cleaning and sanitization best practices. But today, we're also going to talk about what are the strategies we can tackle some best practices. So for cleaning and sanitization, first, we want to learn about what, like where.
Sanitization.
Where? Yes.
Hey. Oi.
So if you just joined the call, please mute yourself. And we're going to open up the discussion floor after all the presentation.
Little girl. Okay.
Okay, so cleaning and sanitization. So where we should practice those. So I'm sure in your current practice, you have already included those. But to address the food safety challenges during COVID-19 era, we should increase the frequencies, especially those high-touch areas, including restrooms, doorknobs, handles, even thinking about where you meet the employees, the workers, like the chairs, frequently used, benches, tables, working surfaces, even trash cans. Think about those high-touch areas. So, what to use? We recently got a lot of questions. What if I cannot get the disinfectant I often use in my business? What should I do? So check EPA's website and still make sure use EPA registered disinfectant. There are a lot of myths about different disinfectant on social media, but make sure you stick to the basic, to EPA's registered items. And remember, especially when you deal with a new disinfectant you have never used, follow the instructions on the label to ensure safe and effective use of the product. See the product label. Many products recommend keeping surface wet for a period of time. So make sure you read it and make sure how long it should be kept wet. And precautions also need to be taken. For example, wearing gloves, making sure you have good ventilations during the use of the product. So currently, we also received some questions on what are the alternative disinfection methods we can use. There are some new technologies out there. However, based on yesterday's latest information from CDC, some alternative methods like ultrasonic waves, high intensity UV radiation, and LED blue light, those are not currently recommended because we still need more data to show how effective they are to kill or to eliminate those novel coronavirus. Second topic, personal hygiene. We can't say enough about the importance of hand washing. So think about how you can ensure the employees to wash their hands by thinking about ensure the adequate supplies of soap, water, and also make those hand sanitizers available for them to use. And allow time for the employee to wash their hands long enough, 20 seconds, and also must use soap. Another item for personal hygiene we want to focus on would be avoid cross-contamination. Communicate, train the workers so they understand the importance to cough and sneeze into their elbows. Avoid touching their faces and eyes. And communicate with them not to share, use tools or equipment unless they are sanitized between uses. So employee training and communication is more important than ever. So start to think about how establish a plan to screen the employees and to communicate your plans and communicate the symptoms you're looking for to screen the employees. Inform them that they must stay home if they are suffering from those symptoms. And make sure that you clear up who to report and how to report if they're sick. We hear about social distancing every single day. It can be challenging to provide social distancing in a food preparation or food business setting. Think about some best practices, for example, using tape measures or measuring stick to demonstrate the 6 foot distance. And advise workers to avoid social greetings like shaking hands, hugs, and fist bump or ankle bump. Try to encourage waves and smiles. Those are small moves, but can take with us for a long way. Provide enough time for workers between shifts to maintain a safe distance for each other. And also hold meetings either like this, virtually. If we can't hold it virtually, hold it in a smaller group. So all of those presentations we present today are recorded. And all of our information will be posted online. You will receive a follow-up email. As long as you registered with us, we're going to send you an email with how to access those presentations. And I have a website, and we compile a lot of good information, materials for manufacturers, for retailers, for farmers. So all of those are on the website. Feel free to access, and those materials are updated every week. So if you have any question, remember you can always put in your chat box, and we're going to answer those questions after all the presentations. Now I want to invite Abby. So she's going to talk about more on the food safety.